I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm here with the man himself, Dave Coldwell. Dave, big news with Dazn launching on Sky, which is, I think, it's great news for fighters and boxing fans. But before we talk about that, and we've got to put priorities first, and let's talk about the two fighters you have on the card this weekend in Newcastle. Hopey Price. He's ninth professional fight in his first sort of major title. I know he won an IBO title with his fourth or third fight, but his first major title against a tough opponent. But you've also got young Muhammad Ali, an 18-year-old with the name Muhammad Ali. How good is this kid?
Listen, first of all, that we speak quite openly in the gym, and that is a lot of pressure from the outside coming in with that name going into boxing. It's like when your dad's a famous footballer or a famous boxer, and you're going to support Ricky and Conor Benn, people like that. It's a lot of pressure, but at the end of the day, he's grown up all his life with that name, and he's been boxing since he was a kid, so he's always had that pressure, so he's used to it, so it doesn't affect him one bit. He's very, very talented, very fast, very fast, a good sharp shooter, and it can pop a little bit as well. He's a kid, but he is a kid, and there's a long process to where he wants to go and where he needs to be. But he's developing nicely. He's getting fantastic sparring, great, soaking up the experience of working with Jordan Gill all the time. He's sparred a lot of rounds with Jordan, done some bits with Stephen, done a little bit with Hopey. He's getting the education, and he's got a great attitude. And it's been interesting to see him. Last time he went to fight, he was a kid. He's not fought for about 3 years. So obviously that's in an amateur setup, really, as a kid. And then it's been interesting to see how would he react and how would he take to all this, the big stage platforms, all the lights, all the media in fight week. And he's just taken it in his stride, and I like that. It's not ruffled his feathers. It's not, some kids, you look at him, you can see it sort of like consume him. But he's not. He's chilled with it, and it's good to see.
That's the thing. I'm sure he's been asked him questions many a times about having the same name as Muhammad Ali, who is known as the greatest. So, there will be pressure on his shoulders for time to come.
But really, if anybody's going to look at this kid and from day one comparing him to Muhammad Ali,
you know what the media's like.
Yeah, but if you do, you're an idiot, because you're talking about Muhammad Ali and you're talking about an 18-year-old kid that's just starting out in his career that's completely different to Muhammad Ali. They just have the same name. So really, if you are actually serious, I know we can have a bit of banter and laugh about the name, but if you're actually being serious, and if you watch him on Saturday night and start comparing him to Ali and saying is this, is that, and all that, then you're an idiot.
I'm an idiot. Dave, Hopey Price though, super bantamweight, tall super bantamweight, 9-0, doing all the right things so far as a professional in his toughest test to date against Masoon. He's in a division right now that's stacked with talent here and domestically. I know we can talk about Inouye moving up to super bantamweight against Stevie Fulton, but domestically right now he's in a very, very tough division. And we can talk about the Shabazz Masouds, the Lee McGregors, the Jack Batesons. It's a dangerous division to be in, but you can't look at these names yet until he gets past this test on Saturday night.
We don't. We're not interested in what everybody else is doing. He's only had 9 fights. He's had 9 fights, and if everybody else wants to rush into big fights and big title fights, fair play, crack on, loads of respect, love what they're doing. I'm only interested in Hopey Price and how I want to develop him, because I don't see this kid as a kid that's just going to, be one of these starlets that rise really quickly and kind of like level off and then drop off. This kid, if I'm allowed to develop him right, and which that was a big issue with re-signing with Matchroom, was that I need every fight Eddie's like, he needs to be. I'm like, no, he's X amount of fights. But if you look at his record, he's been fighting good competition, and I just want him to develop, to mature, to learn, and like our fighters used to be developed, and I see this kid that when he's let off the leash and when he's allowed to start going for major fights, then he'll just go through. He's got great potential. He's got great mindset. Ticks all the boxes.
Dave, obviously, Hopey Price, he needs to keep his mind on the game, but as a manager and as a guy on this side of the camera asking questions, we can look at the landscape of the super bantamweight division. I'm sure you have looked at the landscape of the super bantamweight division and you have seen the names that I have mentioned in that division. Now, it's brilliant, but do we need to see these? It's good to see the young prospects fight each other because obviously that zero is, everyone cares about that zero, but do you think like the Lee McGregors, the Shabazz Massouds, the Jack Batesons, all these guys against Hopey Price, especially here in the UK, we can get like a British title on the line or possibly a world title on the line for these guys?
Yeah, when the time's right, 100%, without a doubt, 100%. But I've outlined what my plans are for Hopey this year. The good learning fights, 10-round fights, 12-round maybe even towards Benn and back of the year. You've got to understand, Hopey's behind everybody else on the amount of fights. He's the youngest out of them all as well. So I don't need to be where everybody else is right now. I need to be what I know how to develop him. And so these next, like Massoud is former world title challenger, former European champion. These are the kind of fighters that I want him to be fighting, and still got ambition to get back there. Wants another crack at European. Wants to go again. I want these kind of fighters for him now, where because they've been at that level, they've got that experience. They're going to react different ways to what. Yeah, they're going to react, but all in a positive way because they're in there to win. There's a difference between these experienced fighters that now are just happy to pick up a paycheck, go through the rounds, go through the motion, and it's a case of like, oh, you've got to break him down. These guys now are going to be trying to win, and they have that experience, they have that ability, and that's what I want. And you know, this year, that's what's going to be spent on Hopey is having these tests and having these fighters that are here to win, that have had that experience, but aren't at that level anymore. And then next year, all plates are off you go. Massouds, everybody. Listen, Bateson will be this year. That no disrespect to him, but that's a big fight for Lee. That's like a really good fight for you know, the fans, for everything, for Hopey's career, everything. That's this year. So that is part of my plans, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, everybody else, that'll be next year. Like I said,
I heard I knew he's stepped up to super bantamweight to chase Hopey.
Yeah, that might be a year after.
Let's talk about them. Big news just released about an hour ago in Dazn, launching on Sky Channel 429. Yeah, I mean, everybody was complaining about being on an app and whatnot, but now it's on a channel on Sky. Your thoughts?
Huge. This is the thing. Listen, you can ask Frank, you can ask Ed. That's my thing about Dazn, is like, you know, you've got to be, just because you've got fighters on the platform or whatever, you've got to be realistic. Some people just don't want to watch it because it's an app, and it's a little bit complicated for some people. Not everybody can just go, bop, 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 there you go, I know it, when they're trying to get on the TV and stuff. And it's like, it's just the awkwardness of going onto your apps and stuff like that, rather than just hitting the button the way you've got your normal Sky remote or your normal TV remote. So it's something that I've been on about for ages. And actually, I had a conversation with Hopey about it, and with one of the Matchroom guys yesterday, where I was like, you need to get a Sky platform. And obviously they knew what was going on. Hopey didn't. The Matchroom guys obviously knew, but nothing was said. And I was like, today when they told me before it got brought, it's all done, I was like, fucking hell, that's a game changer. And the funny thing is like, we're going on what's he saying. I understand where he's coming from, because it's right, you know. As a fighter, you want your fans to have easy access, and the easiest access is channel. Is it 432?
429.
429. You know, you're up there with the Sky channels. You're up there with the BT channels. It's the same as having a BT Sports. You've got to pay a subscription to BT Sports, but you can watch it on the Sky platform. It's the exact same. So it's perfect, you know. And you don't, you know, you have to subscribe to Sky in order to watch Sky TV anyway, or watch Sky Sports. You know, obviously, it's still, you know, you've still got to be a subscriber, but it's easy access now. So I think that's a massive game changer, and it is for, you know, it's for people that I know, you know, because they don't know how. A lot of people don't know how to access Dazn, or just, do you know what it is as well? In this world, we all know everything's easy access. People's span of attention is a lot less, and they want easy access. They're fucking about with trying to get onto an app, trying to get your app on TV and all that.
Email.
Yeah, take that away, and it's just type in the channel. There you go. I think that's a game changer.
Unfortunately, it launches on the 23rd of March, which is Thursday, so it's not this next gen card isn't on. I know. But next, so hopefully we'll get the Anthony Joshua fight, the Katie Taylor fight, because they did say you're not going to get it on pay-per-view. We are going to get it on free, so hopefully we'll still get there. I don't know. I've not spoke to Frank about it yet, but it's if you get Anthony Joshua against Franklin on 429 and then Katie Taylor against Chantal Cameron on 429, I think that, as in your own words, game changer.
Yeah, I do. I think. Listen, a lot of what they've done, and now I've done things that it's not been great. You know, like the timing of sticking up the prices and stuff like that when the schedule was empty and bare bones. It's like, why have you just think about what you're doing? Why have you done it at that point? I think they've done things perhaps this next schedule that they've got coming up, I don't know if it's April, May, but it's good. It is good. Yeah, I mean that run of fights is in Garcia Tank. There's all those sort of fights on there. That schedule's really good. If you ever was going to put your price up, you should have waited until then, and then gone, okay, we've got this shit, but boom, and then people have got something. Go, all right. I mean, listen, I'm a boxing man. I work in a sport, but I'm a boxing man, so I kind of like have to. So I've got your BT, I've got your Sky Sports, and I've got DAZN. You know, but not everyone can do that, and not everyone wants to do that because they're not like hardcore. They're not working the sport. It's not something that they have to do. So not everyone wants to do that, and you've got to make a choice. What can you do? What do you want to do? And if it's the most difficult one to watch and you're paying money out for, they're probably not going to do it. And I think that's what's probably happened with quite a few. Although they said numbers have been stronger than what you think actually anyway. But now it's whether they have or they haven't. Now it's on a Sky platform. It's going to be so much easier.
It's good for your stable because you've got a lot of fighters on the DAZN platform.
Yeah, that's what I have to look at. I've got Hopey and I've got Ali on the DAZN platform. So it's very important that eyes get on them. It's not signed to Matchroom, so we're just waiting, looking at seeing if we can what we're going to do. But we will see. I'm just in the middle of speaking to him about it. So if Jordan's on it as well, then there you go as well. But it's exciting. Listen, they've got a lot of young prospects, a lot of not just my stable, but fighters coming through as well. Where they all want to be on there. And Boatsy saying that, well, he said that yesterday, and then today it's announced, well, actually, we are on a Sky platform. Actually, you don't have to go on an app to watch it. Actually, just type in your channel number. 24 hours later. But, it is what it is.
You said that you respected Boatsy's comments and what he said, and you understood where he came from.
From his point of view, listen, he's a fighter. Fighters have got one career, and they've got to make. It's like when a fighter leaves me, Fowler left me. Look, you've got to understand where they're coming from. They have one career. Promoters, managers, trainers, for as many fighters that we want to deal with, we have that option. And so you have so many rolls of the dice. And he might make it, he might make it, you will do your best trying to get him to make it. Not everybody is going to make it. Not everybody's going to be a perfect fit. But the fighter's got that one career. And so he's got to do what's best for him. But then you've also got to look at it from the realistic point of view. And, some fighters don't want to do the media. Some fighters don't want to call out other people and have big names. And so the personality doesn't sort of engage with the fans as much. So it's very hard for a promoter to work with. Not work with, but to build them into a star that they want to be. You kind of have to do that, I've had it with my own fighters where I'm saying to them, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Not be an idiot, not be like what they're doing on YouTube and stuff like that. Be yourself, but let people see your personality a little bit. So it helps for people get engaged and it helps your promoters to do the job. But if you don't want to do that, then don't moan if the big profile and everything doesn't come back with you. Do you know what I mean? So it's a little bit of it has to be a bit of a teamwork. It has to blend with the personalities.
Quick segue, a hard segue left. I know you've spoke about Conor Benn and the whole drugs thing and the 270-page dossier, so I'm going to stay away from that want to stay away from that. But I'm going to ask you about the potential comeback fight for Benn being Manny Pacquiao.
That's just as bad. Fucking hell. Man. I've said it before. I don't want to see Kell Brook box again, right? Because I know the kid. I've watched it. I used to train the kid. I've known him since day one he walked into that gym. And for me, the whole Khan thing was so big. Emotionally meant so much to him that nothing that he ever does, and I've said this to him, nothing that he ever does in a boxing ring will top that night. So you're having more time out. You're not the fighter that you once was. You're coming back. Even if you smash Conor Benn to bits, it's not going to give you the same buzz. Well, on the night, yeah, but that feeling afterwards. But if you was to get beat, it destroys everything. Now, I understand retirement's really, really hard, and this is a serious bit. And when fighters, athletes, boxers, footballers, whatever it is, when they retire from doing something that they've done basically all their life, so Kell from 60 years old, to then walk away and try and build and find a new life is very, very difficult. I know Tony said about how he struggled as well, but it has to happen at some point. And if you've already made that decision, you've walked away, but you're struggling with it, I don't feel that going back into it is going to solve the problem. I feel it delays the problem. And when I say it delays the problem, it's because at some point you're going to have to retire again, and you have to then face all that again. And now you've worked your way through a year or whatever it is of doing that. You're getting through the process, but now you're going to reset back to day one. Now here's the next thing. You retired on the ultimate high, ticked all the boxes, been a world champion, closed the Amir Khan thing, which was huge, right? Going for a decade plus. So if you finish on a high, it's so much easier to finish on a high than it is having had that high, perfect, riding off into sunset, to then to go back in, and if it's not as good, and then you've kind of like lost that, and then you've got to finish on that. Look how many fighters struggle to finish on a loss. You know, they have that itch because Ricky, you not just him, but Roy Jones, loads. They struggle to finish on that loss because they've had so many good nights and they don't want to go out like that. So they keep coming back. And I just feel it's dangerous. I understand where it's coming from, but I don't feel it does. It doesn't solve the problem. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on it. It's kind of like just taking a tablet to take away your headache when your headache's caused by dehydration because you don't drink enough water. Just drink the more water and you won't have the headache. Do you understand? And I feel that the problem of retirement and building something else in your life that'll take away that. You always miss it. Listen, I was nothing anywhere near that level. I never did, but I spent years being a boxer, and I miss it myself. And but you have to have other avenues. You have to build something else for the rest of your life because you've got a long life in front of you, please God. So you can't just stay in that moment.
Manny Pacquiao, though, has been sort of like penciled in for that June comeback as well. He's finished in a loss, so are you saying that's sort of like the similar scenario with Manny?
He's a legend. I don't like seeing legends carry on going when they're nowhere near what they were. So again, I've got no interest in that. And then what I will do is I'll flip it around and I'll tell you, if you're Conor Benn, and if you're talking about you let off the leash now and everybody's going to get it and this now because he's got all this rage and everything that he's gone through, and you're going to do this, do that and other, why are you calling out old men that retired? This is a good division. It's a great division. There's Ennis. There's you can't. There's Ortiz. He's a young prospect. He's a similar sort of thing. Very good fighter. But there's Ortiz. There's Ugas even. There's all these other fighters. You don't have to talk about Spencer and Crawford. There's Avanesian coming off for a loss. That's still a fight that everyone would like to see. There's so many other fights out there that are actually going to progress your career. These fights are just cash grabs. That's it. That's what they are. It's just about money. And I get that. I get everyone wants to earn money. But you're not telling me he's not earning a lot of money in his game already. But just be honest. Just say it. I spent a lot on legal fees. I want to get my money back. I want to get a couple of fights in just for a big payday. There you go. I understand that, not a problem. Nothing wrong with that. But don't start saying about how you're this, you're that, you got your WC ranking, you're going up there, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and you're just wanting to fight all men. It's not for me, but it's not my career, so I understand. Do what you do. But then when people ask me about it, I'm not going to come out. You haven't seen me slag it off on my Twitters or anything like that. It's nothing to do with me. But if you're going to ask me a question, then I'm going to tell you what I think.
One final one, because they seem to be dismantling this whole place behind us. We're all with the last two here, almost with Frank Smith. One final one, 70-30 split. Tyson, fair for Tyson, unfair for Usyk. How do you see it? First time I've seen you lost for words.
Nah, I think the whole thing's been funny because it's like Tyson said this, and Usyk's just gone, okay. So he's meant to fight. So Tyson's got what he wanted because he wanted to give Usyk the minimal amount, and Usyk's got what he wanted because he wanted to fight. So if that fight gets signed and it is done, and as they're saying it is, then they've both got what they wanted. The difference is Usyk don't give a shit. He obviously doesn't give a shit about the money. It's not the money side that he's going for with this fight. He's going for the other belt. He's got 3 belts. So if you're going to talk about percentage, do I think 30% to the man that's got 3 belts is fair? No. Is Tyson Fury the bigger draw? Yes, obviously so. But the other man's got 3 belts. He's being treated as though he's just a challenger going, oh, I'd love a shot at a world title. Oh yeah, I'll take 30%. But they've took it because they want the fight. And game on.
Game on, game changed with the zone coming onto the Sky as well. So Dave, listen, like I said to you, they're packing up behind us. We're probably going to miss our ride back to the hotel. So as always, it's an absolute honour to speak to you, my man. You always give your honest opinion, which is good. And listen, I'll see you at the weigh-in tomorrow. So thanks very much, Dave. Thank you much. Thank you.
Refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,